Hello, welcome to Sound and Fury Book Reviews. As usual, I'm Tina. Today, it's my first wrap up of the year, which will be followed by my TBR for February. So I'm wrapping up what I reviewed in January this month. But first, look at this cute little cross stitch that I'm doing. So I saw this on Instagram and it looked like so much fun. I love doing cross stitch. I love little fiddly crafts. So I purchased the template kind of instructions from this website for like $8 on Etsy. And then I did all the bookshelf, and then I'm obviously going to add more shelves. And then every time I finish a book, I color in one of the books based on the genre of the book. So obviously I read a lot of green, which is obviously science fiction. So yeah, I'll give you an update, not every month, but maybe like every few months or so. I'll show you how my little bookshelf is progressing. But I think it's really fun. It's kind of a cute little relaxing craft that I like to do. So this month in January, I read 8 books, which is like a little less than usual, but I was going through something at the start of the month in my professional life that really threw me off my game. Plus, I've been playing Starfield on Sunday nights instead of reading, haha, so that kind of like cut out of a good couple hours of reading each week. I actually DNF'd 3 books this month, 2 of which I talked about in their reviews, and one I didn't review at all because I didn't read enough of it, I think, to think it was fair enough to give a review. I will talk about that, though, here, though, so you know what it is, because now you're probably curious. So the books that I read this month was 381, which is a kind of fantasy sci-fi-ish book. It was very weird, very kind of contemplative. I really, really enjoyed it. Of course, you can check out my reviews for all of these in my feed or whatever it's called. I read That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon, which I thought was really, really cute, except I really didn't like the main character, and that really, really stopped me from finishing the book. I stopped around 50%. I couldn't stand him. I found him so, so annoying. So, yeah. I also DNF'd Womb City, which I was really looking forward to this book, but it just didn't work for me. The way the characterization was, the kind of structure of the book, it was like just you can watch my review if you want to know why. But yeah, I was just like, oh, so disappointing because that cover is still like the most gorgeous cover. I reviewed Mortal Mission for the SBSFC3. Yeah, good sci-fi mystery. I read The Three Body Problem, which I just posted that last week, which is a hard sci-fi book, very interesting. I reviewed The Trials of Empire, of course, which I absolutely loved. And I reviewed Manseed, which was terrible. I had some bad luck this month. And then I read Gog Magog, which was really, really cool. I liked that one a lot. I reviewed that yesterday. So the other one that I read that I DNF'd was called Exordia. So I got through about the first 20% of it and I DNF'd it. While I thought the first part of the novel, basically the first 15%, featuring this woman and her new alien best friend, was fantastic and super enthralling, and I was super, super into it. Once that part kind of wrapped up and the other part of this novel began, I really lost interest very, very fast. Yet I think this is definitely a me thing and not a book thing. I thought the writing was really well done. I thought the ideas were really cool. It's just the book takes place in 2013 and focuses on a particular military political event that, to be completely honest, I don't know that much about. As such, I felt like I was missing something vital, like to the point of the novel, like what it was trying to argue or show. So it grew frustrating in that way because I was like, what am I supposed to be getting out of this? I also found the kind of pseudo religious aspect of the story a bit tiresome and not really my interest. So there wasn't like enough in the story to really keep me reading. But if you destroy Dickinson's other book series, what was it, the Trader Beru something or other, I think you might really enjoy it and you should check it out. It just didn't work for me, and that's totally fine. Now, when it comes to my favorite book of the month, that should be completely obvious to anyone that has followed my channel. It was The Trials of Empire. It was so good. I really, really loved it. If it hadn't been for Trials, which I already knew going in would be my favorite book probably, I would have had a hard time choosing between Gog Magog and 381 because both of them are actually very similar, kind of weird books. Both of them are kind of fantasy sci-fi, and I enjoyed both of them immensely. So those two are like a very close runner-up to first place, but first place goes to The Trials of Empire and my boy Heinrich the dog. So my TBR for next month seems pretty fun. So first there's Dead Silence, which is an Interstellar Book Club read. We actually read that for January. My review's just a little bit behind. They just did the live stream on Sunday, which I didn't have a chance to watch yet. I'm going to try to watch it this week. I wanted to be there for the live stream, but I had a family event, so I couldn't. I'm posting my review tomorrow, and, well, it will not be my favorite book for the month, just saying. So expect kind of a fun little, I didn't really like this video for that one. The next one is The Other Valley, which is a literary sci-fi, and I will tell you, I've already read it, and I absolutely loved it. So prepare for that review. Stations of the Tide by Michael Stanwyck. So I'm using this one as kind of a classic sci-fi one because it did come out in 1991. They re-released it. Tor's re-releasing it as like a special edition or something, and I got the ARC for it from NetGalley, so I'm going to be reviewing that. I will be applying my classic sci-fi bingo to it just for fun. I'm reading Red Sight, which is a fantasy set in space. From what I can tell from my kind of initial pages that I read a little bit of, it's a fantasy book because it has a lot of magic in it. It just happens to take place in space. So I'll talk a little bit actually in that review about sci-fi fantasy versus fantasy sci-fi because I think that's an interesting kind of genre concept thing. very very well spoken today. I also am listening on audiobook to Space Punks, which is by Anna Malka-Cat. This is a self-published book. It is clearly a cyberpunk. It's a lot of fun. I'll be reviewing that one later in the month. I'll also be reviewing The Woods All Black, which is a historical fiction mystery horror by Lee Mandelo, who wrote Summer Sons and that one about wolves that I really liked. Feed Them Silence. Yeah, that's what it's called. Yeah, so I'm really excited that I got approved on NetGalley for that one. So that one's in development. I'll be flying through that one probably. I've got a couple more. So The Hand of God. This is one of the SBSFC semi-finalists. You can check out Rachel's video. I linked it in the description below for our team selection. So Team Book Invasion. One of them I was like, yay! The other one I was like, okay, I guess. And we've also been assigned our next reads, of which this is one of them. So I've got 3 more to read because the 4th one that we got assigned, I already read. So haha, that's lucky for me. I get to, not lucky for me. It would be nice to have another sci-fi to read. Anyway, The Morning Side is another one I'm going to kind of get through. I think this is another literary sci-fi. I don't know yet. It seems interesting to me. And I read one of her other novels like years ago. I'm going to read another old school science fiction, but I think I can do a community post on here now. So I'm going to post the 3 choices with kind of really basic synopsis, and you folks can select which one to read because I haven't decided. I mentioned it. Oh, they're right here. I mentioned at the end of my review, my scathing review of Manseed, but it was one of these 3. So I'll post yeah, you'll see that after I post the review of Stations of the Tide. Generation Ship. So I might be able to fit this review in. Basically, Generation Ship, I got it on audiobook. So Ben Galley, who writes self-published fantasy books, he has a book that I absolutely love called Demon's Reign that came out in 2022. Loved that book. And the audiobook and the print and everything for the next one in that series, Demon's Rage, comes out on February 20th. So I was like, I need to have something in between while I wait because I already pre-ordered that one. So yeah, so I was like, well, Generation Ship, I wanted to get it. It kind of slipped my radar when it was on NetGalley, and I didn't request it because it had already come out. And I was like, oh, I would have loved that one because I loved like Generation Ships. And so I started listening to it on the weekend, and I'm really addicted to it. I really, really like it. So I should be able to finish it before Demon's Rage comes out, and then I'll try to squeeze in a book somewhere in February for that one, I think. Yeah. So those are all the books that I'm reading next month. I might read more if I can get to them, but that's kind of the ones I'm going to be reviewing. Yeah, let me know in the comments if you've read any of these or if you have any of these on your TBR. And yeah, so thanks.